This is how you set up Cronus Zen with the different controllers that are compatible. I'm going to walk you guys through which controllers are compatible, how to use them with Bluetooth, and discuss some of the common errors that are found when setting up your controller. I think the most important thing to go over, and this is what's getting a lot of people stuck, is that they're not setting in the device section, I'll take you through that in a minute, the emulator output protocol. So if you find your controller disconnecting a lot, it's very possible it's because you don't have this specific thing in the device settings set up with the controller that you're using. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is open up Zen Studios, the app. From there, go over to the device tab. You'll see it in the near upper right hand corner. And then that's where you find these tabs. Whichever platform you're using, Xbox, PlayStation, or anything like that, make sure you set it up for that. So I'm currently using Xbox. Now, here's another way to check whether or not your controller is working properly before you move forward with game packs. Let's make sure that it's reading our device, or our controller. We've got to make sure they work together. Use the top cable, the 12-inch one, and the right-sided cable, plus your controller, all hooked up at once. From there, when everything is hooked up, you have to go down to the device monitor. And once you hit device monitor, you'll be able to see whether or not your controller is being picked up within Zen. So you know whether or not this thing is an authenticated controller that can be used with your Zen device. Otherwise, you're going to set up your game pack and nothing is going to work. And you're going to get frustrated and wonder why there's so many disconnects. So the first reason for the disconnect is that it's not set up properly as an emulator. You know, the emulator output protocol. And then the other thing is you did not test through device monitor to make sure that it is actually working and being picked up effectively by the Zen itself. So just to recap really quick, a lot of the problems we're seeing are because you do not have emulator output protocol running properly. You don't have it set up properly. So the other part of this would be getting your controller to sync with your Zen, and you can check that through device monitor. But make sure you have all the cables hooked up, the 12-inch cable as well as the right-sided cable, because both of those do different things, and it's the best way you can check and see whether or not it's actually working. Xbox controller on console could be set up by plugging into the bottom left-hand corner. Now, if you're playing on PC, it does need to be put into the top left. If you want to use Bluetooth for your controllers, you need to buy an adapter for the Xbox controller. Then that would plug into the bottom left, and then your controller would have to be paired via the Bluetooth device, which is the adapter, and then you can use it with Bluetooth. I recommend using the cable anyway, though. This is the list of controllers that will work on your Xbox. So these are all compatible with Zen as long as you have an authenticated controller, such as an Xbox One controller. Those will all work as long as you have an authenticated controller. So you can use, as a crossover, all of those different controllers. And this is just a little bit of notation of how you would do that. Okay, let's move on to the PlayStation controller. Now, I do not have a PlayStation, and I'm not going to go buy one just to show this one step, but hopefully I can walk you through it appropriately. Alright, I believe this is where a lot of PS5 controller users are getting into trouble. You need to turn off the Bluetooth from your PS5. Now, here's how we do that. So again, I don't have a PS5, but these were the instructions on how to do that. So if you need to pause the screen to look at these, or if you just wanted to look them up on the Zen website themselves, you can do that. Also remember that you need to put the emulator output protocol as PS5. Otherwise, it's not going to read your device correctly. So, first things first, turn off Bluetooth on your PS5, and then make sure emulator output protocol is set to PS5. Or PS4, if that's what you're using. So whichever one you're using, that's the one that your output protocol should be placed on. Now, from my understanding of this, it should work after that. I'll go over the known issues in a minute, but make sure you double check in Zen Studios the device monitor, just like I showed you earlier. So the good news is that as of the firmware update back in January of 2023, these are all the things that now work, with a couple of exceptions, of course. Also, really cool little workaround. If you guys get in some trouble, you can always try changing the emulator output to remote play and see if that helps you out as well. And then finally, you do not need to have a dongle or an extra controller anymore. As long as you follow the steps listed here, where you turn off Bluetooth on your PS5 and then you go through the setup, you should get your controller to work. Now, there has been one thing I've heard from a comment. So here it is. PS5 players that are having a tough time getting the Zen to work, first thing you do is turn off the Bluetooth, right? After that, turn the PlayStation on manually. And then plug the Zen into the back USB port. From there, you plug in a PS4 controller to the left USB port. And then you'd plug in your PS5 controller to the bottom port of the Zen. He said it works for him perfectly. Let me know if that works for you guys. That's it for this one, my dudes. Hopefully you found this video to be useful. Let me know in the comment section down below if anything else has been helping you with all this. Thank you guys so much. I love all of you. Remember to keep it Zen out there.